do is talk stats. 360 on the new view. Go run, tell the ad. 40-yard dash time. Moss Money Podcast time. S.Dot co-headlines. MoneyPot. He makes a left and he makes a right and he breaks it to the real good bodies. Touchdown. Money.
And we are live. MoneyPot Podcast, episode 16, man. We in the playoffs, y'all. Wild card weekend. The homie Moss Money's in the building. Got my boys with me. B.Diddy, S.Dot. What's up, bros?
We back together, man. Been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Always,
it's been a while. Yeah,
I mean, talking about Ben Simmons and man,
right out the gate. You want to go right at it?
I'm just saying.
I don't comment on that.
You don't comment on Ben. How you feel about Embiid? He came out and aired him out kind of a little bit on the radio.
Did he?
Oh, y'all didn't see that?
No.
Oh, word.
What did he say?
He's I gotta find the quote, but it went along the lines of saying that we got to be accountable, and when you got space to shoot, you need to shoot. We have to have confidence in each other.
Like really, he was going Ben.
But he said, when you got to have space, when there's space out there, shoot the ball. Was that part of that? What I just said is a quote. He said, if you got space, shoot. He didn't say no names.
He just shoot the ball. I agree.
He just said, shoot the ball. He said, we'll just live with it.
So he's talking to Ben.
Oh, he's talking to Ben, which I thought was kind of. I didn't like that. I don't like him going like that's. Ben's supposed to be a leader, right? Yeah. Ben's supposed to be a leader of the team. You take him to the side by, yo, man, we need you to start.
Hold on, time out. You think he ain't been talking to Ben?
But you don't do that.
You don't do it in the media.
Maybe he trying to let him know, like, yo, man. This is it.
I wasn't feeling that. I mean, it's true for what he's saying.
Yeah, it is.
But I don't think going that outlet is because that's how you start problems.
Absolutely.
But then that's what we talked about before. This is why Jimmy didn't sign.
Correct.
This is why Jimmy didn't resign because with Jay Rich coming out saying something, there's turmoil building up in the locker room. And then, Brett Brown kind of giving out his two-piece, but really not taking charge.
Absolutely.
He's more like a player, almost talking amongst guys instead of leading them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we'll get more into that Sixers stuff. But, hey, hoodie season in, man. Got the new hoodies in. Almost sold out already, man. So I'm looking at a second batch already. Don't worry. I told Steve, man, I got you boys on the next round.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean. But PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, I do it all. If you want one, they are selling out fast. I only got probably like 3 or 4 left. Hit me up. Send me on a DM. MoneyPotPodcast@gmail.com. Just let me know your size, and we'll see what we can do. And we got the next shipment coming in, so the little bit of back order, but they're gonna be coming hot and fast. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, IG, the Facebook page, Twitter. Shout out to everybody that's on right now for the late night. Sorry we're a little bit late, fell a little bit behind watching the bum ass Sixers lose. But make sure you like, comment, share, tell a friend to tell a friend, man. I haven't done this in a while. I look back, man. Steve, we were nice last week, man. We went 3-0. On the plays.
Yeah.
Didn't even quietly week 17, a hard week.
That's a hard week.
Great.
Yeah, the parlay didn't hit though. The Colts messed us up, and I think there was another team that messed us up. But
Seattle.
Yeah, it was Seattle. It was. You know what it was? Taylor wasn't here. It was the other DJ. That's what it was.
Who'd he pick? Seattle.
He picked Seattle.
But you liked Seattle too, though.
Seattle should have won that fucking game.
That
bro.
was one delay of game away from winning.
Yeah.
It
But
wasn't
not
even. It was
a
a pass
half a yard.
interference. It was a
pass
pass
interference.
interference away.
Yeah, Seattle should have won the game.
Yeah.
To be real with you. But they didn't, so we lost the ticket anyway. So it is what it is. It was actually probably not it was a pretty good play.
Yeah.
They covered too, right? Because they didn't score. I forget what that line was.
I think it was 3.
Yeah, I think they
Yeah.
covered with that too,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
No, they lost by more than 3.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The other team covered.
yeah, San Fran.
San Fran
Like
covered.
7-23, right?
Yeah, San Fran actually covered on that. So it is what it is. But it's nice to kind of go into the playoff weekend.
And a new year,
With-
man. We in a new year.
Yeah,
New
with
decade.
new decade, new year with a win. So DJ, first quarterback, man, let's go.
Here comes the money.
Here we go.
Money talk. Here comes the money.
Money. Hey, cut, DJ, cut. I'm going with the fucking birds. Money line.
He cut the whole music though.
Cut the music.
Cut the music. He
Cut-
going
cut-
money
Cut
count
the
with
goddamn
birds.
music. We're going with the birds money line. The team has gelled. This team is playing like they belong in the playoffs. They're playing with a chip on their shoulder. This team believes that they can go deep into the playoffs. And I've said it all year. It's tough to beat Philly in Philly. There's a real home field advantage when you come here. Check this out, man. Doug P. Since 2016, the first time he plays you at home, 7-6. The second time he plays you, 9-4. Pete Carroll, first game, 11-2-1. The second game, 4-10, 0-2 in the playoffs. Give me the birds, man. To win the game outright. Ooh. My eyes don't deceive me.
No, they definitely don't. 'Cause
No?
I love to play.
Oh, okay.
I love
okay.
it. I love it.
Okay. I don't see
Now,
slaps and good
B.Diddy
feelings.
look like he don't.
Frowns.
But I love to play. That's one of my plays. So I'm going to piggyback off of it on my first one
play.
as
No,
well.
no, we're not feeling that.
Is it my turn or y'all?
All right, you can
Go-
talk.
No,
Go ahead.
Is that,
I
is that your play?
No, that's my play too.
So the first play is your play.
First praise the birds. Oh, don't
I mean,
do it to
I
us.
just hate that Brandon Brooks is out.
So let's.
That's a big
So we can get. I'm sure we got Eagles talk coming in the next couple
Absolutely.
seconds, right?
Absolutely.
So we'll get to it. I'm on the other side of that. Seattle is the better team. They are the more healthy team. And as of this point, although I believe
I
Carson,
wouldn't say
I
more
wouldn't say
healthy.
healthy. Yeah,
They're missing a lot of pieces.
I get you.
they're missing their whole right side
But
like we are.
But I feel you because we missing more playmakers. So I get you.
Right. Seattle is undefeated on the East Coast, meaning they travel well. They're 7-1 on the road. Right, 7-1.
Mm-hmm.
They got Russell Wilson, that was really in line to be the MVP if Lamar Jackson wasn't Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
I just have to go with
No run game, Russ, though.
Well,
What?
Yeah.
I don't think in this. I don't really to tell you the truth. I think we have a good run defense. So either
No,
way,
we have a great.
We have a great run
so either
defense.
way, it doesn't matter. We had a good run defense when Carson was running.
But see that they had Penny killed us when they came
Yeah,
here.
they had
Penny
over
killed
100
us. He had
yards
over
out.
100
Yeah,
yards.
yeah,
No, I
100
don't think
yards.
anybody's ran over 100 yards. Oh,
Penny-
combined.
Combined. I'm talking about
Oh,
team.
yeah.
Yeah, they had over 100 yards.
So
I think Penny himself had over 100 yards.
no, he
against
just had
us.
that one big run.
So when it
think
comes down to
total.
playoff football, I understand why the hype is there for the Philadelphia Eagles. They're doing a lot of different things, but I'm going to go back and say the better team is coming on the East Coast, which is the Seattle Seahawks. They're a better team. They're a better team
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
because of the Eagles and their health. I think the games we played, we didn't play anybody.
The last 4 games we didn't play anybody.
We played the Giants. We played the Washington Redskins.
Oh, yeah,
we played the Giants, and we played the Dallas Cowboys, which was in a huge game, right?
Rashad Penny had 129 on us.
Oh, I thought they said he didn't have. I thought
just
nobody
No,
ran
he
over 100 yet.
He had 120.
So what I'm
14
saying by that is, I just feel as though this team, Seattle, travels well.
Mhm.
They'll be ready to play, and
Definitely
I just
gonna be
don't
ready
think
to
we're
play.
going to have enough. The line is short enough to throw some good money on Seattle. So I think they win by at least between 4 to 7.
Yeah, but see, Seattle hasn't blown anybody out.
Right. That's the key. They're gonna play the close game and they're gonna win the close game. I don't trust Doug Peterson's decision making because he'll find those opportunities and we can go back to all these wins. These
Doug's and
let's go back. Let's go back. We can go back to every single one of them games.
Right.
Giants game that we just played.
Okay.
We're up what? 10.
10-0.
Mm-hmm. We're up 10 with 7 minutes left in the game. With the ball.
Left in the game or
it was
the quarter?
Fourth quarter. It was 7 minutes and 58 seconds. We punted the ball with 7 minutes and 28 seconds because he threw the ball 3 straight times. Up 10 in a must-win situation. Those are things that you just cannot have.
Why?
Because the better team is going to win. He threw the ball 3 straight times. It doesn't make any sense. Run the clock. The Giants only had 2 timeouts.
With 7 minutes, they're not calling timeouts.
Run the ball. At least punt. You cannot punt the ball back to anybody up 10 in 30 seconds. That's insanity.
I don't know if it's insanity, but
how do we not agree with that? If you're up 10, under 7, under 8,
it's still a 2-possession game at that point.
It is.
That's fine.
And your
but you punted the ball with 7:28 in a 2-possession game. If the Giants was any good, they're scoring at least 3.
Why?
And still have 2
not
timeouts, a 2-minute warning, and can get a stop and tie or win the game.
Not the way the defense was playing that game. No, I would have punted the ball as well.
But
what do you mean punt the ball?
You said the Eagles punted the ball with 7 minutes left.
No, I'm saying we went 3 and out. We was 1st and 10.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
With 7:58, we ended up punting the ball at 7:35 because he threw the ball 3 straight times. That's not smart. You got to run the ball at least twice. He didn't run it one time.
He's staying aggressive in that.
These are the keys that I'm telling you that are going to hurt us when we're playing a real team. That's going to take advantage of that.
Like New Orleans,
a team like Russell Wilson, that if you give him 7 minutes down 10, he's scoring 7.
I don't think the Seattle team is as good as what you're saying.
They just did it last week. They were a delay game from winning from being down.
You ain't never see Doug do no dumb shit like that.
What do you mean?
Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll at the goal line is fucking trash. We've seen it in the biggest moments in the biggest games. And you want to
said who?
Pete Carroll.
Right.
Russell Wilson.
Right.
At the goal line is trash.
Because they didn't do what?
What we just saw.
Because they didn't. Because they didn't do what?
What? Run the ball?
Because they didn't do what? To who?
I'm not following.
Why are they trash in the goal line?
Because they make bad decisions.
And because they what? What ultimately are you talking about? The Super Bowl?
I'm talking about the Super Bowl.
Because they didn't do what? They didn't run the ball to Marshawn Lynch.
Right.
Who was getting the ball Sunday night? Monday night.
Marshawn Lynch.
He definitely was getting the ball.
But did he get the ball?
Because of the delayed game.
Who is that?
Fault is that?
Whose fault is that?
You're absolutely. Did they have any timeouts? They didn't have no timeouts though, right? They didn't have any timeouts.
It was first down.
They spiked.
Yeah, but they didn't have any timeouts.
No, they had to spike for to go second down after that.
Right, to go second down.
You're at the one.
Right.
So what?
It was first down.
But coming back
coming
back full circle to it, that Seattle team has a lot of holes in it.
Definitely.
A lot of holes in it that I think you're overlooking. Yes, Russell was great, and I can't not disagree with that. If there wasn't no Lamar this year, he probably would be the MVP.
Who's their holes?
What are their holes?
Yeah, what are their holes?
They have no depth behind their receivers. Lockett.
Time out. But they got their receivers.
But where's Lockett been the last 4 games?
But they have their number one receivers.
They have a receiver.
All
yes.
of them, right? They're 1, they're 2, and they're 3, right?
No, he's hurt.
Damon Moore's hurt.
I know Brown is. No, more. One of them has a concussion, and the other one has a.
But
knee
they have
issue.
their number 1 and number 2.
They have their number 1 and number 2.
Okay.
Right?
So where's their hole again? So you're talking about behind.
And
that.
then they have no run game.
Defense.
If you think Lynch is a run game at 33 years old, you're out of your mind.
What did they do last week? What did they do against San Fran?
But we talking about a top 3 defense
at home
against the rush. We're not worried about.
I'm never worried about the rush against us. I don't care. I don't care if you got your full running game.
It's going to be tough for them.
I mean, let's keep it moving. We'll come right back to this.
Yeah.
Lock it in.
Oh yeah, if we talking about Homer. Homer was balling.
Motherfucking
62
Eagles.
yards, 34 yards. They had over 100 yards rushing. It's okay.
They lost.
They
did.
Bro.
I agree. They lost. 2-8. A San Fran team that got a bye. What do we? So what?
They also lost.
What's your pick, man? What's your pick? What's your first
And
quarter
we lost
pick?
to the Dolphins.
What's your first quarter pick, bro?
They're easy. Seattle Seahawks, get your money because you got guys like this that want the Eagles to win and believe they can. So the line should stay where it's at.
DJ, cut
Take
his
advantage
mic.
of it.
Cut his goddamn.
Take
mic.
advantage of it. DJ, what you think?
I'll take the Eagles points.
There you
nothing
go.
like that.
Good. That's 3 against 1.
My man. My
Hopefully,
man.
well, we gonna have another at the podcast after this if they.
He said.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
said
Oh,
he'd
yeah,
take
yeah,
the
yeah. So I
Eagles.
did say that. I
With
did
the
say that.
points.
Yeah,
I know, I
did
said that.
I did say
No,
that. So
the DJ said he'd take the Eagles.
With the points.
Yeah,
I know. I
points,
said 3
yeah.
against 1.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you said two.
So sorry for that. I thank you for reminding me. If and when the Eagles win, we'll be back next week. But for unseen reasons, if the Eagles lose,
It wouldn't be unseen.
we'll do a closeout show next
That'd
week
be good.
to finish it off and finish the podcast for the season.
First quarter bet. Seattle. It was a -2, right?
Womp
-2.
womp. All right, so we usually go into this betting 101 where we talk about different plays, we talk about different bets, we talk about bankroll, we talk about where to bet, who to bet with, handicappers, etc., etc. We always give our picks out for free because we're different. We're trying to disrupt the market. But this week, I want to just talk about how do we bet against in the playoffs. So I'll go first and see if y'all can pick up after me about what are your keys of trying to look at, because you're only 4 games, right? We don't have a slate of games to look at, so it's limited in what you can look at. So these are my 3 keys for betting in the playoffs. My number 1 key to key on is what team can run the ball and play defense. Period. That has always been a formula of getting you to the bowl. Run the ball and play defense at the end of the year. Experience. Who's been there? Who's tested? Coaching from top to bottom. Who understands the situation that we're in? And my last is home field. I think home field plays a huge part in the playoffs. There's a couple teams that are left that have huge home field advantages that I think is kind of being overlooked. There's a lot of people, we'll get to it, but there's a lot of people in Tennessee. I ain't buying it. I like Brady at home. I'm trying to think who else. And obviously New Orleans. New Orleans is always hard, tough, even though that line has dropped dramatically since a day. So stick to the numbers. Stick to what makes sense. Don't get too cute in these plays. Make a great call. Get you some money. What you boys got? Anything else added to that?
Not really, because mine is pretty much is experience and coaching. To be honest, like you said, the guys like Tom, he's been there. It's just that he's going to have to be the one to will the other guys that haven't been there. And I believe that he can do it in certain situations, as well as coaching. Because then you got Bill Belichick, the same thing. Like,
yeah, they've been in this situation
he's
before.
been in those situations. So,
Facts.
I mean, I just got those 2. I don't have many of them.
Anything you can add to that, bro?
I think number 1 for me is defenses. I think defenses is key. It's getting cold. You may be traveling to a cold place. Weather may play a big part. Defense is key. So if you look at a defense, a team that has a defense, then you start looking at the line. And this is why that Tennessee line is enticing to me. Tennessee is a tough team. They're a tough team defensively.
They are.
They are hungry, and they're a hungry team. And
They
just
can
like
win.
what you just said, you said defense
Run the ball.
and run the ball. And Tennessee can play D, and they can run the football. Let's not downplay that Derrick Henry
He's
somehow
got the rushing title.
has got
he
the
won
rushing title.
Yeah.
And I think they're traveling to New England with an attitude and can kind of shock the world.
But
And I think
here's the thing,
it,
too.
yeah.
plus 5
Here's the thing.
is a lot.
Belichick guys don't beat him.
No,
Oh, you're talking about verbal.
Yeah.
Vrabel,
I'm
whatever his
not
name
worried.
is.
I'm not saying to beat. Although I like the upset.
And that's one, like I said, that's something. Sorry to cut you off, but that's one thing you look at too. Like it's just coaching as well. Like he don't lose to.
Yes, there's some statistics that.
Yeah,
are-
Right.
He
are
really
compelling.
And I see that 5 points is a lot.
Yeah,
And I
crazy
don't
thing
see this
about it,
being-
I like Tennessee.
Yeah, I don't see this being a blowout. I don't see it being a 7-point game. I see it being much closer, if not going the opposite way. And I believe the stat there's a trend too that shows that if New England doesn't get home field, they've lost. Right?
If they don't get home field, they're not going to the bowl.
They're not going to the bowl. And I think they've lost in the first round a couple times, right?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked at it, but
nah.
No,
I know
I
what you
think
mean.
that's true.
I know what you mean. I know what you're
Yeah,
saying.
So I look at those things
Because
and
they barely have a first round game. They usually get a first round bye. They haven't not
Yeah,
had
that's
a
what I'm saying.
bye
When they
forever.
don't have that,
Yeah, they do
That
lose
shit's
Right.
been
usually.
years.
so those are just little small trends. But the very last thing I would say is darn, I just went blank. It was a good one, but
Okay.
I'll think about it.
Yeah, no doubt. Now I think we all make good point. I think we all got good points and run the ball and play defense, man. You know what I mean? It really is what it comes down to.
Oh, that's what it was. And who's hot? Say teams teams get hot,
Oh yeah,
and if you find a team that's hot,
bird game.
and they are hot. But they didn't play anybody.
You play who in front of you.
But you play in front. You're right. You play in front, but they didn't play anybody.
It don't
Pause
matter.
there.
Right.
You
So
play who
so
in
that's
front
where you
of
like you go with the
Bird
trend.
game.
There you go. Shout out to Carson Wentz.
DJ, second quarter bet, man. Let's go.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
All right, we're gonna hit y'all with a 2-team 6.5 point teaser. We're gonna go back to the well. We're going with the birds again, getting them over that good number of 7. We're getting them at +8. I love them at +8. What I have right here. I think this game does go a little bit differently. If people might have forgot that first Seattle game, Wentz had, I believe it was 3 or 4 turnovers by himself. If I'm not mistaken, I think he lost 2 or 3 fumbles. He threw a pick. They're 8-4 at home since 2000 actually, and out of those 2 losses, they only lost by 8 points. I'm sorry, out of those 4 losses, they only lost by 8 points twice. They haven't lost at home in a playoff game by more than 8 points in over 10 years, a decade. So I like the Eagles +8. I think they win the game outright, and then I get them plus the touchdown more. Eagles +8. The second half of that tease, man, going to New Orleans and the Vikes game. I do think this game is going to be a little bit closer. That's why that line is dropping. So I'm going to deal with the total here. I'm going to tease it down to 43 points. I look back at the wild card games that New Orleans has had, and out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games, out of 8 games, only one of those games went under 40 points. These are the scores. One of them was against the Eagles, actually, 20-14. The next games, these are the games in the wild card at home: 31-26, 26-24, 45-14, 31-28, 45-28, 36-41, 27-24. That means there's going to be a lot of scoring in New Orleans. Give me the over 43 points and the Eagles +8. Lock it in, man.
I'm going New Orleans minus the 8.
I think it dropped.
No,
I see it now. It's 8.
Oh, it went back up?
Yeah, it's 8.
Oh, okay.
I'll just like them to beat the shit out of Minnesota. Like, for real. I just don't think that Minnesota, they don't have the same defense as they had previously.
Yeah, they're one of their third corners out. So it's just going to be
It's
Rhodes
just like this
and
year.
Waynes.
They haven't been what I'm used to seeing. Like they got a good defense, but the way New Orleans is playing, man, they got these guys back healthy. Kamara's healthy. They running good with Murray for the change of pace.
Thomas
And
is
it's
just a problem.
nobody that can stick Thomas. It's nobody that can stick him. Cook is playing really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's playing really good. So I feel as though that Drew Brees this is the shit he lived for, man. He's gonna pick them apart, and they're gonna beat them by at least 10.
That's a good one. I'll probably buy half a point or something there.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would say if you want to buy it down to 6.5,
down to 7.5,
yeah,
creep
or
down to
7, yeah,
6.5.
I like that too.
What you got for me, B.
I'm gonna go Tennessee, man. I really like this Tennessee team in the playoffs. I think they're hungry. I think
like
you want to
that.
talk about anybody as a dog. I think Tennessee's a dog,
I totally
and
agree
I think
with
they're a hungry dog. I mean, secondly, who's playing quarterback better than Ryan Tannehill at this point?
Carson Wentz.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Second, that's what I said. Secondly, who's been playing better? So over these last few weeks, it's been Carson Wentz and Tannehill. A.J. Brown's coming in as a rookie and dominating over 1,000 yards receiving. New England got their hands full. New England's defense has now went the other way second half of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So unless they somehow pick it up tomorrow, I see Tennessee easily covering that 5.
I'm on the other side of that one.
Yeah.
I can't. It's just I've learned my lesson betting against time. And
Where do you see
and
the score being in?
So for my thing, if you like Tennessee, you gotta like the over because you're gonna think Tennessee's gonna score, right? You're gonna think Tennessee's gonna put up at least 21 to 24 points, and that tells me that that they're gonna win by like 3. So 24-21 type game, maybe even 22, 24-20 type 22 type game. So if you like New England, that means their defense is gonna ball, they're gonna be efficient, and they're going to slow whatever Tennessee throws down. So I can't bet against the number. I can't bet against the Belichick and Tom Brady show in Boston. You know what I mean? That number, they just don't lose. It don't matter how bad they look. It don't matter how, old they are or whatever you want to call it. Their stats over the decade is the best you probably ever seen.
This team doesn't look vulnerable to you?
No, not really.
No?
I think they
Time
do.
looks vulnerable. The team, I don't think their defense is still a top 5 defense. You know what I mean? Like did it fall off from its shutting people out and people can't move the ball? Yeah, I agree, but it's still a top 5 defense.
Okay.
So I mean, I don't mind. I actually like Buffalo as the dog of the week. I think Buffalo wins outright.
Yeah, that's a little tough.
Yeah,
one
it's
for
only
me.
3, 2.5.
Yeah, it dropped to 2.5.
Yeah.
I don't, especially if Fuller doesn't play. If Fuller doesn't play, you can lock Buffalo in. People are hesitant because of Allen, but with that defense that they have over there,
Right.
and Houston don't got no run game. I mean, you beat Buffalo on the ground.
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting game.
And then Hyde, I don't think. I mean, Hyde somehow got over 1,000 yards, but I mean, he's just barely got over 1,000 yards with 16
So you
games.
take the points. Buffalo with the points.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. And I like the money line. I like them to win. I think they're gonna win outright.
Well, when I picked Buffalo, that hit big.
Yeah.
This one's a little funky, a little bit. J.J. Watt's back.
He ain't back 100% though.
Yeah, but he's his
I'll take
whatever
him.
he
I'll
got
take
is
him
better
at
than whatever they got.
75. I'll take him at 75%.
That's just a big piece, but I mean, it's gonna be
Absolutely.
interesting. It'll be interesting.
Yeah. DJ, halftime.
The Spicy Belly is a family-owned restaurant in the beautiful Manayunk section of Philadelphia. Owners Jimmy and Jason Mills have created the country's first Jamaican and Korean fusion restaurant. That's right, Jamaican and Korean fusion restaurant. The Spicy Belly has a diverse selection, but not limited to, shareable and small plates, specialty entrees, happy hour, $4 craft beers, $5 hot apps, and a 75-cent wing special on Wednesdays and also on Sundays for the game. Follow us at The Spicy Belly on Instagram and Facebook. We also take reservations. If you're interested or have any questions with off-site catering, please email us at thespicybelly@gmail.com. Fly, Eagles, fly. Looking to add a unique and exciting style of dance to your repertoire? Look no further. iBalance Dance Studio is the newest dance studio around. iBalance Studio provides students with a welcoming, family-like environment, specializing in tap, ballet, modern, jazz, and hip-hop. 2019 through 2020 registration is now open. We're offering dance classes for ages 3 to 18, plus our brand new adult classes. Registration includes a classroom leotard for each student with affordable monthly tuition options. We're located at 5939 Ogonst Avenue in Philadelphia. Please stop by for a tour or call us at 215-867-2002 for more information. Again, that's 215-867-2002. We're also on social media. Follow us at iBalance Dance Studio on Instagram.
DJ, third quarter bet, man. Let's go.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Money. All right, I got something special for y'all out there, man. I did something a little bit different. I did a future bet. 2 future bets, $50 on them, half a unit on each. My first future bet is calling the Super Bowl, plus 900. I'm going KC versus New Orleans. It's my Super Bowl for plus 900. Then the second part of that, because you can't parlay them, is KC to beat New Orleans, plus 2,600 for 50. So I'm betting $100 to win $1,750. And I got KC, New Orleans in the bowl, and KC winning in Big Red, getting his first chip, getting his first ring. I like Baltimore. I really do like Baltimore. I just don't think they make it. Honestly, I don't. I think the run stops. They've won, 10, 11 straight up.
So what makes you think that it stops, though? Who beats them?
KC. If they see KC, I think they lose to KC.
In Baltimore.
In Baltimore, yeah. There's nothing that's
If it
going
was
to.
an Arrowhead, I might say yeah, but they're not beating them in Baltimore.
I think they can beat them in Baltimore. They've already beaten them.
Not this year.
KC beat Ravens.
No, Baltimore beat KC if I'm not mistaken.
Double check that.
Yeah,
I thought they were one of the only teams.
They lost
twice, right?
Twice.
Second. Tell you in a second there, buddy.
Yeah, I don't.
B.Diddy,
think
what you got
KC,
for me?
Though.
I wanted to go back to the college realm. I'm looking at this game here. It's a short week.
Yeah, we didn't do no college plays last week.
Nope. It's a short week. That line is 5.5 LSU.
Yeah, they lost to the Chiefs. They lost to the Chiefs and the Browns.
So you got two great teams. You got a team that has been experienced, has been in the playoffs over the last 4 years, in the Clemson Tigers.
Oh, the championship game.
Championship game.
Let's go.
You got great coaching there in Clemson, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
You also got them playing in a weaker conference than LSU.
Mm-hmm. What's the line?
The line is 5.
So they won like 2 out of the last 3, right?
Last
2 out of the last. Yeah, this would be 2 out of the last
4,
3 or 4.
2 of the last 4.
Yeah, 2 of the last 4, yeah.
Yeah, 2 of the last 4. They won 2 championships of the last 4. I see Clemson a little vulnerable. And I don't see any. The way LSU's been playing, the way the Heisman winner Burrow's been playing, I don't see that slowing down in the championship game. And I go back to what I was saying earlier before the show started. Is a lot of mental, and I see that coming out of the quarterback, the leading position. You know, when I said he had a record-breaking game last week, 7 touchdowns, I think 8 total touchdowns, 7 passing, 1 on a run. He had 5, I think, in the first half, or 6 in the first half. It was something really, really crazy. Over 400 yards in the first half. Something real amazing.
Yeah.
And he gets to the post game, and he's not even thinking about it. And that's what I was really thinking about. Like, usually, like, oh, you know, it's cool. You think your teammates, you think everybody about you. You know, you're happy to win a game. The only thing he was thinking about is like, you know, we still got one more game to play.
Right.
We still got one more game to play. We won a Heisman. You know, I don't really care about all this stuff. I'm only looking for the main trophy. That's the championship trophy. You want to talk about an underdog? Joe Burrow is an underdog. Am I saying his name right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's a true underdog. And he's now outlived everything that you can think that he would ever do as far as being in a position that he's in, from being a bench player to not being able to play, to having to transfer, to hoping somebody takes a shot at him, to the coach taking a shot at him at LSU, and then him now leading them into a 12 undefeated season, to the national championship and a Heisman Trophy winner. I don't see that stopping. And even though Clemson has all that experience, I feel like you want to talk about a hot hand. I think LSU is the hot hand, the hot team. I think they're the team that's going to take it this year. I think LSU is going to travel well. And let's hold up and really let's start talking about home field advantage.
Where's the game?
This is a home field advantage. It's in New Orleans. This is home field.
Oh wow!
This is in New Orleans. Only a couple hundred, 60, 70, 80 miles, 100 miles away from Baton Rouge.
Where people care more about LSU than Saints.
Exactly. Yeah. So Clemson went to the game last week and it was more Ohio State fans. Now you're going into a dome and it's going to be LSU all over the place. LSU ain't been in a chip in, I don't know, since when? Since Les Miles?
Has to be, yeah.
So it's going to be, so
Yellow and gold everywhere.
it's going to be yellow and gold. And they're going to be partying all week. But they got that quarterback. So I'm sorry, ran on a little bit. If you can try to get a half a point down or even start think about money line, I think LSU wins.
What is the money line?
It's -5, so I don't know. I can check the money line now.
It's got to be -250.
220.
220. That's 2 to 1, 2.5 to 1. Listen, I'll just buy half a point. I think LSU rolls here. I think they roll.
And
I think they're going to. I think they roll.
There's no point in buying a half.
Yeah,
half a
at
point.
5, I just think you believe in it. You go with the hot hand. LSU's going to roll.
You
I don't
can't
see
go
that slowing
wrong with
down.
it. I mean, you can't go wrong with it. Like you said, they just been hot. I mean, I like the experience with Clemson, but I mean, LSU been hot. So it's you got
That home
two
field is
of the
huge,
future
bro.
quarterbacks is
Yeah.
playing that night.
Yeah,
So
What's the total?
Lawrence is definitely going to
I
go
think 69.
top
Yeah,
10 next
69
year.
and a half.
Uh,
They're going to put up 40.
I kind of like the over there.
I see it being like a 48,
35 type game.
38. Yeah. I just feel like
I think they might score almost 80 points.
it's going to be one of them games. Clemson, can Clemson keep up?
shit,
The way they
that'd be
played Ohio
crazy,
State, they're not
though.
going to be able to keep up.
That be the games that they be playing fucking defense, and you be like, where is all the points at?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it be like that. But
Yeah,
it's-
and then they explode in the second half.
Yeah.
The way Clemson played Ohio State, they're not beating LSU. They're just not. The way they ran Lawrence that week, which was good for that game plan, he got a couple breaks too. He's not going to survive.
And what's the running back, ETN or whatever?
Yeah, ETN.
Yeah, he's good too though. So
Yeah,
he
he's a
can,
threat-
he
he's a
can-
threat to
he
score
could
anyway.
definitely.
Mhm.
DJ, look like you want to jump in. What you got for me?
Oh, no, I'm with you. I'm
You
riding
LSU
LSU.
rolling?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man. And I might have to throw that parlay in there. You know what I'm saying? Put that in there. That's a win.
That's a win.
That's a win.
All right.
That's next week. I think the 13th, Tuesday, Monday.
You riding with that one too, Steve-O?
It's gonna be a good game. That's
Mhm.
like I said before. I can't call this one.
That home field is huge though,
that is huge.
in a championship game.
All right. What you got for me, Steve-O?
Oh, I ain't go yet.
Nah.
I'm tripping. I'm with B.Diddy on Tennessee though.
Oh, coming back on Tennessee.
Yeah, -5. I like.
Let's
them
go,
with the
Steve-O.
points. And like I told y'all earlier in the year when I was like I like Tennessee against Kansas City. And I'm like, whoa, that's a big one. That's just their defense is they play sound defense and they run the rock good.
I think it's good too. If you're going to tease anything, I think Tennessee's a good tease bet.
Oh yeah, you can.
They would
them.
completely have to not show up
Yeah.
for them not to win by cover by 7 + 5. What?
Yeah.
12.
12.
They would have to completely not show up because Tom Brady's not all of a
and
sudden
the
gonna start
Patriots
something.
wasn't blowing nobody out neither
Yeah,
lately.
right. So I don't
Not
see that
lately.
happening. Not against that defense.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going Tennessee. I like them.
I don't know.
But I get what he's saying. The history says it's hard to beat
Yeah,
Tom
but-
Brady and
but
Belichick at home. It is, but it's a different year.
And here's another thing that we're overlooking because he's actually done very well. Do you really believe in Tannehill?
Yeah, now. I don't
Why?
like Tannehill because he showed me over the last.
He's been running that
Right.
offense really good.
He has been.
And he has a running game to back him. So it's not like it's all on his shoulders. It's not all on his shoulders. Derrick Henry has taken a lot of weight off of his shoulder.
What's Tannehill got to lose?
Absolutely nothing.
Oh no, he's coming back.
Yeah, I mean, what's he got to lose?
Yeah.
So it's like, like you said, with the run game, takes the pressure off him. I think Tannehill being that guy was just never good for him. So this is that Nick
Sometimes
Foles,
it's
that Nick Foles
systematic.
situation. Yeah, like you said, Nick
Systematic.
Foles taking the team to wherever they going.
Yeah, I wouldn't compare that, but okay.
If you look back at it, he's doing better than what Nick Foles did over these last 5 games. No, that's not true.
No.
Okay, when he beat the Patriots, you're gonna start thinking what I just said about Nick Foles is about to be true about Ryan
They're
Tannehill.
not gonna beat the Patriots, man. They're not gonna beat the Patriots.
You think they win straight up?
I do.
I think they have a shot to win straight up. Give me 5 points though.
Yeah, I take the 5, but I think they have a shot to beat New England.
Nah.
But it's just hard. But like I said earlier,
I think they might lose by 10.
Belichick don't lose to none of the coaches that
under his tree.
that's learned from him. Wait, did Detroit beat them this year?
That was last year. I remember that game.
Okay,
It was like
yeah,
a big blowout.
Yeah. That's the only time I think it was.
Oh, with Patricia?
Yeah.
Yeah, that
But
was
I mean,
his first year.
his record against like
He was only lost
Yeah.
maybe like 2 or 3 times.
I can't even think of his proteges. There we
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, I New England rolls in that game.
Rolls?
Rolls.
Oh, good luck on that one.
Yeah, they roll.
No, I can't see it. I just can't see it.
Oh, I can see it.
Mhm.
Tom's too efficient. Defense steps up.
How can you not see it? I can see why you like the points, but it's the Patriots.
Yeah, I don't see how you don't see Tom being Tom.
Tell me a game this year that they rolled since this second half of the season. Who have they rolled against?
It's the playoffs. What do you mean?
This team.
But
Who's
here's
this team rolled against?
Here's the thing I'm gonna look at too.
Why is all of a sudden now they're going to start rolling?
I know you mentioned
Because
AJ Brown.
it's the
AJ
Patriots.
Brown earlier. AJ Brown's gonna get canceled out. He's. I doubt if he has any real impact on the game. Because Gilmore is going to follow him all across the field. He's going to take him out of the game.
This is what the Patriots do. They suck you in.
Pause.
They pause.
Big time.
The whole team?
You see Tennessee getting blown out?
I can see Tennessee easily losing by 2 touchdowns in this game.
Oh, man.
Easily.
Tennessee, I mean, New England hasn't told you that they can do that with anybody this year. I'm looking at this.
I'm looking at the
They played the
history.
Bengals. They beat the Bengals 34-13. But I'm looking at these teams that are solid teams. Miami, they lost to. Buffalo, they won by a touchdown. That was a late touchdown. Cincinnati, they blew out, but Cincinnati was trash. Kansas City, they lost. Houston, they lost. Dallas, they won 13-9. Eagles, they won 17-10. Baltimore, they lost 37. They got rocked. And they beat Cleveland by 27-13. And we're going to week 8. Like, where's this rolling at though? I don't know. I just think we're.
They lost. Well, outside of the Dolphins game, they lost to a legit team in KC at home. Everything else at home, they've won easily. It's not even close. I mean, Cowboys, but
Why is it
13-9.
Cowboys? Why is that?
Yeah,
Like, why do you
Cowboys is a
Cowboys-
good team. Cowboys is a good team, but they showed they're not a good team because they couldn't finish at the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's like Cowboys
Tennessee's
are a weird
not
team.
a good team.
I think they're an okay team. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just don't see how you don't see, like,
So who's better? Is New Orleans a better team than New England Patriots?
absolutely, especially in New Orleans.
Okay.
Eagles talk. So how about Wentz and Doug P answering the call, putting his team on their back, 4 games out of a row, even though you downplayed it of who the teams were. It's still getting a. I think Andy Reid said this: getting a win in the NFL is tough, man.
Yeah, that's what they say.
And I look at it as, regardless, who they played, but if they would have lost any of those games, they had no shot at the playoffs. So it's still pressure games, regardless of who they had in front of them. It's win or go home in the last 3-4 games.
2 games. Last 2.
Not really, because if they'd have lost before that, it still was.
No, because Dallas lost.
Still, all of
It
those
came down to Dallas
situations
game.
was
They beat Dallas, and then it came down to Giants.
last 3 games was win or go home.
It wasn't. Dallas lost.
It was. It still go because
Dallas lost when we played them or before that.
Before that,
they
Remember,
still
'cause they had an opportunity.
they still were in the lead of the NFC East until we beat them. They were still in the lead of the NFC East.
Yeah, that's what I said. It came down to the Dallas game. That was the winner go home.
Dallas. Then who we played after that?
It was Giants.
Giants. But
That was it.
The Washington game was pretty. We had to win that too.
They had to win all of them.
Yeah, because we played at the same time. We didn't know if Dallas was going to lose. It's win or go home. So that's why it's last 3. It's definitely win or go home. That's the mentality you're going into the game with. If you play at the same time, you don't know if they're going to win I mean, if they're going
I mean, to go with Steve's point, they knew that they had to win every game
Right.
to control their destiny.
facts.
Right? It wasn't we lose and then hopefully Dallas loses. It was these were must-win games because if you win, you're in. That's just was plain and simple. So from that standpoint, the pressure that they had to face for a team that some of these vets haven't been there, pretty much Carson Wentz. When you look at that as a whole, regardless of how they got it done, whether you win by an inch or a mile, a win is a fucking win.
Okay.
And they got 4 of them in a row, beating the same team twice in, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, which is tough to do. You know what I mean?
I'm not going to downplay the way they showed out. I want to give a lot of credit to Carson Wentz.
Give credit to that coaching staff. He can't do it. That's why I said it.
I mean,
he can't do it.
You have to though. Like, look who they putting out there, bro. You have to because they putting them in great positions to win. You going out there with Greg Ward and Davis and Burton, like the coach and the coaches is getting them prepared. Like it's not even just the coaching in itself, just the preparation of having these guys coming from Boston Scott and all them coming from practice squad that you can trust them to get in the game and produce.
So could this not be the players? Could this not be a players looking at each other in the team meeting and saying,
You talking about the practice squad players?
I'm talking about the players that's on his team right now saying, yo, I got nothing to lose. I may not be in the league next year. I'm balling out. Greg Ward, Boston Scott playing for his life, playing for a job every single game.
But they still have to be prepared.
I get
you
that.
have to prepare.
I get you. But when we're not prepared, so all of a sudden now, we got a good coaching staff, right?
Absolutely. We never not had a good.
Yeah,
Doug makes bad decisions, right? But if you look at this team, how it's constructed, how they won games, you have to give credit to Howie. Those are guys off other people's practice squads, not drafted players that we drafted, but people still scouts looking at players that can fit what we do well.
Thanks.
We've seen Greg Ward 3 or 4 years already. Keeps coming back. He's getting his shot. They know what Greg Ward can do. They've seen him for 3 years. Boston Scott just kind of came out of the wazoo. You know what I mean? And he has the greatest big man probably to ever play the game.
So Greg Ward,
little man. Go ahead.
We already knew he can do this? Is that what you're saying?
I think they knew his skill set.
Yeah, I agree.
So we knew that he had hands.
I believe so.
He just didn't have the opportunity.
But we didn't give him an opportunity. Is what we're saying.
Yeah,
we actually cut him.
That happened to a lot of players.
Because they thought,
but they always would bring him back.
Because what? Because they thought Hollins was better. Because they thought J.J. Ortega was better.
Because they invested draft picks in
but
them.
you
so
said
you
they
gotta
already knew.
Look where those guys come from in college. Their pedigree is different.
But this is what I'm saying. I think when it comes down to this type of situation.
Wasn't Greg Ward a quarterback?
He was a quarterback at Houston.
So,
he's been in the league 3 years as a wide receiver. It doesn't make a difference.
No, he hasn't made the league. He's been cut 3 years.
Okay, so I'm saying he's been eligible for the league for 3 years. He's been cut, and all of a sudden he just magically has hands. You just told me we knew who he was, right? We knew who he was. If we knew what he was, he just don't think
he just couldn't have. He didn't make the 53-man roster because of other situations as well, other areas that they probably had more focus on. He just couldn't crack the 53-man roster. That's why they will always bring him back as a practice.
Is he on the roster
player.
next year?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So this is what I'm saying. I think when it comes down to these type of scenarios, right, and I got to give a little credit to coaching to not letting your team quit, but I feel like you have enough veterans on this team that are pure leaders. We questioned Carson Wentz's leadership all the way up until these last 4 weeks, right?
You questioned it.
I didn't question. No, not me. I'm not a Carson Wentz hater. I've always said.
We've always been
right,
on the Wentz wagon.
I've never questioned Carson Wentz. I'm telling you, I told y'all.
Well, I've stated
what to give Carson Wentz
left.
some time and give him a full. I remember I've said give him a full year off season. I put the blames on Doug Peterson for putting him in bad situations, like dropping back 49 times.
Hold on. Let me think about this. No, Steve's right here. You
You've ripped
dogged Wentz before.
Yeah, you did.
So I just literally told you what I've been talking. I said that Carson, we've on the last few shows, you said is Carson Wentz the problem or the answer, something like that. And I told you on the podcast, I said I like Carson Wentz. I feel as though Doug Peterson has put him in bad situations that he's not being successful.
So you never criticized Wentz for
I'm
throwing in
on
the dirt?
Carson Wentz. I like Carson Wentz. Now his play certain times. No.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
all
but
that, man.
his play, like not seeing like like not seeing the flash, something like that. Yeah, I'll criticize a play here and there, but I've never been like he's not the answer.
And our Texas, man, you be going off on him a lot. Man.
Yeah, I go off on just some things he does, but I've never been like, you never heard me say anything about Nick Foles. You never said bring back Nick Foles. I've never said anything like that. I've always been about Carson Wentz being our future. I feel as though I feel as though yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel as though
look at you now.
It's Doug Peterson that puts him in bad situations.
No. I what I said was the marriage with Foles and his coaching staff I thought was better than the marriage with Wentz and this coaching staff. That's what I said.
That's all probably out the window now. You think?
It's hard to say.
I think it's more so.
It's hard to say.
Carson Wentz. I'm not gonna say he probably went to Doug and had a conversation, but it's like, bro, let me ball. Like you said, put me in situations where I'm going to flourish.
Well, I think
don't have me a sitting duck.
Well, he's matured too over the time. I think he's matured and understand not to force it and let the game come to him. Take what you have. Because before he used to force a lot of shit.
And I'm gonna be honest too, man. He might have got some of that sluggish energy off the fucking field with some of these guys too.
With just the other vets?
Yeah, on the offense. Jeffrey?
Yeah, it's so
Nelson.
weird with that. Yeah, it's so weird with Jeffrey. You don't.
So it's like,
who knows what that story is?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's really hurt. Don't get me wrong.
No, not the story that he's hurt. That the fact that he's not a Wentz guy. Like there's always been.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
like
can't.
it's always.
I don't never put nothing on nobody. If I don't have no evidence on them, I'm not gonna say.
But we said this before: when there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah,
You know
for
what I mean?
sure.
So it's just like
I'm all about culture in the locker room. That's why I look at these teams. I don't necessarily say you got to get credit because we're supposed to go to the coaching staff, but these guys are hungry to play and they're playing for their livelihood.
Yeah.
So I see these guys stepping up, giving opportunity and balling.
Right.
Now, this team I think
you
has
don't
leaders
think-
like
you don't
Michael
think
Jenkins and Carson Wentz.
preparation helps that.
I've
You're
seen
not just
too much
gonna
preparation.
throw.
We was supposed to be prepared to go to Dallas and play. Like I've seen the preparation. There's nothing changed. Like I go back
but
and
those
critique.
guys was in the system. You talking about a guy that got signed on the 12th of December and played on December 20 whatever.
Yeah.
And was brought up to speed and was able to produce in the games.
So is that? Is that?
Yes, it's coaching.
But that's every single player.
No, it's
though.
coaching. It's coaching. It's not.
that's coaching.
JJ Artega's had a whole summer in X, Y, and Z, the same exact coaching, and we were ready to say that it was a blown pick just 6 weeks ago.
It is kind of.
It's the same coaching.
It still is.
It's the same coaching.
He's a
though.
second round pick, right?
It's the same coaching. The coaching ain't changed. So why can he
I
do
think
it?
the coaching has
And why
changed.
can't Artega? That's why I said
I
it's
don't
not
know.
necessarily just the coaching, it's the player. It's a mindset of, yo, this shit ain't. I've been cut how many times? This is it.
Why haven't these players done that in the other situations though? Like Burnett, he was in the Jets. Why didn't he do that when he was there? His
Burnett?
mindset. Yeah, the one that just scored the 40-yard
Yard
pass
pass,
last
yeah.
year.
He went right back to him twice, I think.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
So
I don't.
that's what I'm saying. So why, if it's just he's that hungry, why he get cut from the Jets?
And he
No,
ain't
I'm
no
not-
slouch either.
He's not. He went to USC.
Yeah,
So
he had like 1,100 yards.
he was good at USC.
Well, so when did Burnett get on this team?
December 12th.
Like 2 weeks
Right.
ago.
So 2 weeks ago. So is it 2 weeks of coaching that made him a better player?
I mean,
Like, come on, Steve, what are we talking about?
Yeah, because
None of these players are getting
why
coached
wouldn't
up. They're getting put into the system, run this play, and they're running a play. That's
they
great.
are being
They're getting an
coached
opportunity,
up
but
because
you're not.
you got guys that was here before him. What's this? Sony Michel brother is still on a practice squad. Why they didn't bump him up? So it's definitely coaching, and
I don't
I
agree.
believe it's
I
coaching.
don't agree with that.
I believe-
You can't tell me coaching has anything to do with 2 weeks to the end of the season. I get here now. I'm all of a sudden a better player because they coached me to be a
So
better
you don't
player.
think like
No.
even like
I got a playbook.
like
I'm
with
learning my
Deuce.
playbook.
Remember we talked about Deuce last week.
Right.
You don't think Deuce coaching has helped Miles Sanders succeed in this league?
First off, I think the potential in Miles Sanders is we already known was there. I think Miles Sanders got better over the year, which can go with Deuce, which I appreciate Deuce, although sometimes his rotation is a little crazy.
Future head coach.
Yeah, for sure. I think so. But I also think Miles has started to see the game a little differently, too, as he start playing.
So what do you
not
think
really
that
quick to bounce the
comes
ball
with,
outside.
though? That comes with
I get it, but
coaching.
that's how many months of coaching for Miles Sanders till he got on the board?
I think y'all both right? It's a little bit of coaching. It's a little bit of player. It's just a nice mix. These guys are getting into the system. They're finding the right guys to put in the system. Yes, are they coaching them up in 2 weeks to be ready for game day? Yes.
Yeah.
But it's also a player that's hungry right now.
That's what I'm saying.
That's saying,
Right.
like, I got one shot. And not even that, we got a spotlight.
Right.
We're
Whatever
in the
play you got me
playoffs.
playing, I'm playing at 110.
Yeah, I'm
You got guys
110.
playing. Boston Scott
Yeah.
playing 120%.
Yeah, right.
Greg Ward, every
Yeah.
pass he's
Yeah.
he's diving trying to get the rock.
Yeah, right.
Like
So-
these dudes are playing to another level. It's not just coaching; it's the effort. And they're like, "Yo, I'm trying to be here. I'm playing for another life."
I need these
Yes.
M's.
So that's what I'm
It's
saying. And I
quick,
think
you know
with
what I mean? I
that,
feel
the
you.
leadership
I
of the
feel you.
team, your Malcolm Jenkins, your Zach Ertz in the locker rooms,
Yeah, your
your
vets.
Carson Wentz,
Yeah.
they're building this team up more than a coach, which is helpful.
Right.
Because I critique coaching when it comes down to gameplay and putting your players in the best position. And I critique that when you're 7 minutes up, 750, and you're not doing things that put your team in the best
And another
position.
thing too, is it Josh McCown? Is our backup? Is that his name?
Josh McCown.
He
Yeah,
came out.
I heard it.
He
He's
had an
doing a
interview
good job.
that he's actually taking the new guys that are coming in
And working
because working with them on the
Right.
side, getting them up to speed on the offense.
That's right.
Because Wentz has got so much
To worry
So
about.
all the other quarterbacks are working with the receivers,
Absolutely.
getting them to understand the system and stuff. like
That's
True
That's
vet right
why
there.
I'm saying it's team.
Yeah.
That's
Go ahead,
it.
wrap it up.
That's it. It's just
Yeah.
that I feel like the team is gelled together. They got the underdog hats on, and they're just doing it what we got. And we got some hungry dogs now.
So here we go. I got a question for y'all because I've seen a lot with this team that we've put together, and we're all, I think there's a new fight song for the practice team. I haven't heard it yet or whatever, but I've gotten a little mad how the fan base has said, we've done a good job, right? We've made it a successful season. And that wasn't the fan base in the beginning of the year. It was Super Bowl or bust. Period.
Is this the nasty Nate talk right here? I was like, what the? Then I said, pause.
That's what I said.
I'm like,
bro.
what
You
the
should have
fuck?
heard.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna cut you
I
off.
don't know who the hell you're talking about. It's Mall's money right here. I don't know who that
Different
guy
person?
is, man.
Okay.
Killing him.
Alter
You know
ego.
what I mean?
Yeah.
After 10 o'clock, you can
Yeah,
holler at Nasty Nate.
It's 11:28.
But I'm
Freaks
just
come
lights,
out at night.
this stuff. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
right. You know what I mean? So, Super Bowl or bust, man. How y'all feel about that?
No.
Because you can't say that. You're missing.
Oh, but why?
Because look at what we stacked up
Yeah.
against.
We got
right
depleted
now,
early.
man.
Early this
early
season.
in the season.
Yeah, we're not talking
Okay,
about
and
It's not. It's
is
not
injuries
okay.
not
It's
a part
okay.
of the game?
No, not these type
like
injuries.
this, man.
Not these type of injuries.
No.
Brandon, you
No.
missing Brandon. You missing two of the best.
Yeah, it was like 13 starting players.
You missing
losing.
two of the best people at their position in the league.
So if we made the playoffs, do you find this season being a successful season then?
For me, I didn't want to make the playoffs.
That's not the question. Do you find this
yeah,
season?
it's a
anytime you go to
season.
the
I think
playoffs,
I-
it's successful.
I get through what
When
they've
you make
gone,
the
what they
postseason.
have, what they've gone through, and still make the playoffs. I think it's successful
I
because
agree.
of the hard work the team has gelled and did what they got to do.
Horse shit.
But week 2, you got to figure. Week 2, we literally lost Deshaun Jackson, Alshon Jeffries. The next week, we lost a running back.
Sparrows.
Right.
Horse shit.
It was just
Then
at
what
key
you lost-
positions.
we lost Howard for 6 games?
Yeah,
4 or 6 games?
He
some
still
shit
ain't
like
playing.
that.
he still ain't playing.
Yeah,
He got in last week.
Bro, we got
He
Boston
dressed.
Scott and Greg
got in the
Ward
game,
as
though.
our number 1.
No, he got in the game, but
Yeah.
he had 1-2 plays and he
Yeah,
was done.
yeah.
I don't think he ain't right. There's something wrong. There's really something wrong with his shoulder or whatever it is.
I mean,
We got a clock. Okay.
I just feel like
Go ahead,
I
finish
think that it's a successful season.
Yeah.
I mean,
For what happened to
you
him.
won a division. You're a champion of the
Yeah, that's
division. So
should we run around and be happy about that?
no, it's nothing to be happy about, but
It
it's
is.
nothing to be
No, it's not. I want a
disappointed about
fucking ring.
neither.
You got a ring.
No, we want rings.
You will get him.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
not
Rings.
this year though.
Seattle preview, man. I can't even talk to you. Seattle preview, Steve-O. How the Eagles win this game?
I think it'll be like 21-17. Game like that. It's gonna be close. It's
Mhm.
definitely gonna be close.
Toss up.
No, Eagles.
Mm.
Eagles 21-17. Toss up. No.
Yeah.
So 3 touchdowns.
DJ, how we win this game?
I have no feel for this. I'm kind of terrified, to be honest.
But he likes the Birds.
He likes the Birds. Yeah, sorry I asked.
The points is only 1 now.
Yeah.
1.5.
If I had to take a pick, that'd be it. But still,
Okay.
it's
Understood.
definitely toss up, though.
B.Diddy, how do we lose this game?
It's out of our hands, really, to tell you the truth. I just think it's out of our hands.
Oh, yeah?
It's not going to be able to match up. I think it's going to be too much Russell Wilson, as is always too much Russell Wilson. So I don't see that bus stopping here, especially with the team that we got behind us. You know, our cornerbacks are hurt. You got speed on the outsides. Our Kruger Hills ain't there. I mean, you know,
Brandon Brooks is the biggest part. I
Brandon
think.
Brooks is. I mean, I was talking
Brandon Brooks is
I was
definitely the
talking
best
about Russell Wilson doing his thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even on our best team, our Super Bowl winning team, with everybody healthy, we couldn't stop Russell Wilson. And I don't see why now we're going to be able to do that. I just don't see it.
Cool.
And we look at our offensive line, like you said, Brandon Brooks is huge. Lane Johnson's still hobbled.
Is he gonna play?
He's questionable.
He's
They saying
questionable.
If he play, they gonna slide Vitae into that guard.
I honestly think that if Lane goes out there, he's gonna probably be at like 65, 7%.
Clowney's coming to town.
Yeah,
like,
Clowney's hurt too.
Yeah,
Like
banged
he
up.
hasn't
But,
practiced
Ansah-
at all.
Ansah is healthy.
Huh?
Ziggy Ansah is healthy.
Ziggy's back.
Oh, Ziggy's
So
healthy.
Ziggy back, but it's just a core injury. So we're not talking nothing that can't give some good plays here and there. He just may not be able to play.
He'll be on a snap count.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
I'm okay with
so
that.
those are
Yeah.
those
I'll
are
take
those are crucial.
Clowney on a snap
But if
count.
Lane comes out there and he's like 75%,
I'm taking
and it's between him being 75%, and if we win the game, him being like more like 80, 85% next week, I'll sit him. The kid Pryor didn't play bad last week, and he went against, Williams ain't no slouch inside. You know what I mean? Was it
Leonard Williams.
Leonard Williams? Yeah, Williams ain't no slouch inside. And I think they got the kid from Clemson. Is that Wilkins in there too?
Did they get him too?
Did they get him, Christopher
Possibly.
Wilkins?
Not the Giants.
What did
No,
he go
the
to
Giants
Giants?
did get a Clemson guy. Though.
He did get a Clemson guy from inside. Or was Wilkins went to
Jets, right?
Miami? He might have meant to with Miami. But regardless, the kid Pryor, we know who Big V is. You know what I mean? So I saw some tape of Lane, and he just don't look right. He looked like he just, they need all hands on deck to get the win, which is very true.
Zach Ertz is out.
They say Zach is going to play.
No, I thought I just read he's out.
I didn't see that. I didn't see him being out. It
I didn't
just
see him being
it,
out.
It says he
He
hasn't
is
been
pushing
cleared,
hard. Yeah, he hasn't
but
been cleared
I
for
didn't
contact.
see him be out. Yeah.
But I just don't. I mean, a lacerated kidney. That means he more likely to piss blood a couple times. You just can't put
Yeah.
him out there if he's doing some shit like that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So we're gonna get close to wrapping up here, man. Who DJ? I'll start out with the DJ, man. Since you've been rocking with us for the longest here, holding it down. Super Bowl. Who you got?
I definitely like the Ravens to get there. Let me see for NFC. I'll give you the other one in a sec. You guys got anything yet?
I got Ravens San Fran.
Ravens San Fran.
I could ride with that. Yeah.
I like Ravens San Fran.
I think San Fran loses. I think they lose a big one.
Yeah, I don't think Jimmy G has it yet.
Yeah, I think Saints are gonna.
I think
Saints gonna have to travel though if they play San Fran. They're gonna have to go to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
And
they'll be
Green Bay.
ready to play. I think it's gonna be Saints and Baltimore in the championship.
I don't believe in the Saints this year. I don't know. I just don't think they're gonna get there.
Yeah, I think Niners Ravens is definitely the play. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd go with that.
I think it was plus 240. I think that's what that.
I mean, it's
play was.
possible. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's all possible. I just feel like I think it's gonna be that one game
Mhm.
that they're gonna be fighting and that other team's gonna win, which would be possibly Saints and 49ers.
So usually when we start to run out of air here, we don't got shit to talk about. So we usually start talking some shit.
Yeah, we got shit. We got shit.
and I got Ben written down here.
Shit. Got some shit to talk about.
I got Ben written down here. We already touched on it earlier today, but
Ben Shittins.
Ben just had 29, 11, and 14,
And they lost by what?
13. I mean, they lost by 10, and it ain't just all on him. But you tell me 29, 13, and 11 is shit.
Shit.
Yeah. God bless
What did you call it before? Empty stats?
Empty stats.
How is that empty stats? The fuck?
Empty.
You got Steve's sick, and you got him cursing now.
Right. How is that?
Philadelphia.
How the fuck is that empty stats?
What you think about
When you got another starter with 7 points. Another starter with 7 points.
Who's those
who's
starters?
that?
Horford,
Harris?
Richardson.
Something's up with Al.
But that's what Al is, though.
No,
What-
he's not. Al's
No.
not that.
No,
Al's
not at
not
all.
that. No.
You think you think Al's
not that, bro.
what is Al?
14. A consistent 14. Al is a consistent 14.
It's just recently. He looked great in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I was a consistent 14.
What 14 and 8?
Yeah, I'll take that all day as your power forward, as maybe a third, fourth option. Absolutely, but he's definitely 14 and 8.
Has been your second option?
Tobias Harris probably your second option, and he's been playing like shit too.
It's been your third option.
Yeah.
Third option to do what?
I mean,
Dribble up the court, stop at the free throw line, turn around, and then look for somebody to get open?
He's your
Come on, this is why these other guys can't play. This was Al's not Al because he's trying to figure out where
It's
he
that
should
damn
be.
Kardashian, man. He's been spotted with
No, I don't
Kardashian.
think
Al
it-
is not Al because of Ben. Like
No, I'm
he
just
getting
saying-
open shots. He just not hitting him. It's not like when you got guys. Here's the thing.
Go ahead, Steve. Tell him.
A lot of these dudes take 15 shots a game. So they're not getting the looks, they're not getting the touches, they're getting the opportunity to do what they're supposed to do, and they're not doing it. It's not just all on him, bro.
No,
Like you got these guys getting 15
agree.
plus. If you got 5 people getting 15 shots a game, that's a lot.
I agree. It's not all on Ben. It's on Ben and Brett Brown. I think systematically this team is just not fit. They're just not fit. They just don't. There's not enough spacing on the court. Just not enough offensively spacing on the court. Joel's a beast wherever he is. He just plays in so many different positions, so many different areas of the floor, and cats just don't know where they should be. He'll get the ball at the 3 line. He'll get the ball at the mid range. He'll get the ball at the block. Other guys are just like, where do I go? Al Horford, where do I go?
Yeah, because
Ben Simmons, I don't even know where you go. Once he dribbles the ball up the court and pass it off, he might as well go to the bench or start running on defense. That's how I see that. Unless he's getting buckets in transition, which he's great at for the most part, unless he missed that quick bunny. But once the ball gets into half court, it's like, where does he go? I literally watched the game. I forgot what game it was. And I was looking at the court, and I said, who is going to get this ball right now? Is it Joel's going to get the ball? We're down 3 with 20 seconds left. Is that what we're doing right now? We have no scorer that can go get us a bucket. Tobias is not showing up to be who he should be.
yeah,
But I didn't think he was that anyway.
He's supposed to be that. That's what he got paid for.
I didn't think he was athletic enough to do that. To tell you the truth, I think
Why
he's
not?
more
Look at
of
what he
your
did
secondary
in
scorer.
Detroit and in LA. He's athletic enough to do it.
Yeah,
he's
but
not making them shots, bro.
He can get you buckets, but when it comes down to who do we get his ball to get who's going to get us a bucket right now? We just went on an 8-0 run. Who's getting us a bucket right now? Tell me who. Who's that person on this team? Joel Embiid?
That's all
Really?
you got.
You're looking
He
for your
should
center.
be.
You're looking for your center to get you that bucket right now?
Why
not?
saying
I mean,
that-
he's
you
the best
saying it
center in the
like
league.
Because
No,
what I'm
he's
saying-
not. It's not the best center. Well, he might be the best center. He's not the best big man in the league.
I said center.
Yeah. But I'm thinking, yeah.
Because I'm saying that's not going to win you. That's not going to win you a championship.
Why not? Why don't
Tell
it?
me who's done that.
Shaq.
We're talking a
fuck?
different ball game. We're talking
no,
a
we're not
complete
talking a
different basketball
ball game.
league.
You just said who did it.
But when Shaq
Shaq
played
did
was
it.
a completely different league.
Shaq
it
did
was
it.
completely
Dwight
different.
Howard pretty
One
much
of-
did it.
what?
He
Dwight Howard also
dominated.
had Lewis out there knocking down buckets.
Who?
Lewis.
Rashard Lewis?
Rashard Lewis was killing when he was with Oakland. With Orlando.
Jameer
And they had
Nelson
Jameer
was
Nelson,
was
a true point guard.
Dwight Howard
getting buckets.
was dominant. You ran the offense through him. Just like they should run the offense through Embiid.
I get you.
So
Running the
don't say
offense
that,
through a player.
Why give it to a center? Why not? He's
So
the
did they go to
best.
Dwight Howard when they needed a bucket down 3 or down 8 and need to go get a bucket?
Yeah, they're going to run a pick and roll with him. You fucking right.
Does Ben run a pick and roll?
Is that how you going to
No,
blame?
answer my
on
question. Can
him?
you run a pick and roll on Ben?
You can
This
run one
is
if
what I'm
you
talking
want.
about. We don't have the player and personnel or the system for Ben Simmons. We need a true point guard.
No, we're not.
For
We're not even
Joel.
talking about Ben Simmons. You just said you can't give Embiid the ball to get a bucket. Is what you just said.
I'm saying when we need the bucket the most, and we're saying,
Why
I
give
need
it to
you to go get
Embiid,
my
is what you
bucket.
said.
It shouldn't be. It should be another player
Why not?
that can
He's
help.
the superstar. Why not give
and
it to
and
him?
we're never going to win a championship this week.
Why not give it to
This
him?
is not going to win a championship.
What the
It's
fuck?
not. It's not going to win a championship. He said.
You
You said
kidding
Shaquille
me?
O'Neal.
You kidding me?
When did Shaquille O'Neal win a championship last?
Bro, he's old.
I know he's old. A completely different
But he
league. When big men made an impact in basketball. Name me a big man that's going to make an impact in basketball. We already told you that.
Y'all
Look
just
at the
said-
Greek
isn't
Freak.
Embiid
Got
supposed to-
washed in the playoffs. He was
Isn't-
an MVP.
He's not a big man. He's a swing.
Oh my!
He's a wing.
The Greek Freak's not a big man.
He's a wing. No, he's not a big
He
man.
doesn't
He's not,
play like one.
Exactly.
Is
he's
he?
not a
So
big
does Joel
man.
play like a big man?
Yeah.
So the Greek Freak don't play like a big man.
No,
but
he don't. He
but
plays
Joel
like
plays
a
like a big
fucking
man.
guard. He has the ball in his hand majority of the time.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
He's not a. He don't play
Okay.
like no
Greek
big
Freak
man.
Greek
He's
Freak
got the
don't play.
length to
Okay.
be one. Yeah.
So
he
tell
doesn't
me a
play
big
like
man
one.
that's your star that's going to win you a championship.
It should be.
Tell me one. You
Embiid.
told me Shaq. Tell me another one. You told me Shaq. Was
What
that
do you mean?
90?
Like
that
this-
98
in
Shaq?
this- in this
What Shaq we talking
decade?
about? Heat Shaq, Lakers
Shit,
Shaq.
you can go to either one.
But how long ago was that?
You talking about this decade?
I'm talking about any new. I'm talking about
Yeah.
this type of basketball that's being played in the NBA right now,
Anthony Davis.
where it's not a big man league.
Anthony
right?
Davis.
And he was at New Orleans for how long?
Anthony Davis.
And he was in New Orleans for how long?
what, 6 years maybe?
And what did he do in New Orleans?
They didn't have anyone, bro.
There we go.
They don't
We're
have
back
any-
to saying he didn't have anyone.
But here's the
and
thing.
so who do we have here in 76ers with Joel Embiid?
We're not going to compare the New Orleans Pelicans to this day and age Sixers. It's no comparison. It's no comparison. You put Anthony Davis on this fucking team right now, and you take away Embiid, they'll win.
So
They'll come out the East, no problem.
so
You put Anthony Davis on this team last year and take away Embiid, they beat the Celtics, no problem.
I mean Toronto.
Yeah, Toronto. I'm sorry. Yeah, they beat Toronto. They'll beat Toronto.
We can.
So Joel's not the guy then.
I mean,
That's
That's what it sounds
that's a
like.
lot.
Yeah.
listen.
I don't know about that.
That's what it
I
sounds
do.
like.
I do. I know about it. Anthony Davis is totally different.
I agree, but I don't think Embiid's the problem. I think it's.
I didn't
Ben.
say Embiid's the
Yeah.
problem.
No,
I think Embiid's great.
But
Yeah,
you
yeah.
saying
I think he
wh-
plays
what
two-
big
I
man
said-
can you get a
I
ball?
said originally
Anthony Davis
my
is
original-
another big man you can give the ball.
But
to
Anthony
get a
Davis don't have
bucket.
no chips. He don't have nothing. He's now
just
playing with the
asked-
best
you
player.
just asked
He's now
who-
playing with the
you
best
just
player
asked
in the
who do you
league
give the ball
to
he got
get a
the
chip.
ball in the Pelicans. You said what big man now can get the ball, and you say give him the ball, and he get you a bucket at the end of the game.
I guess we
Anthony
should do a
Davis is
basketball
one.
But they're not
podcast,
going to Anthony
right?
Davis though.
They do go to him. What the
Okay.
fuck?
All right. I
What
gotta
do you
get
be
off that.
watching,
I
dog?
gotta get off that.
What do you be watching?
I gotta get off that.
They don't
I
go
gotta
to
get off
Anthony
that.
Davis.
But I'm not. But you're not. You're
y'all
not.
both asked for this. When I'm here with you, yo, where's Steve at? When I'm here with Steve,
I'm saying because I
where
want to talk about.
B.Diddy
I
at?
want to talk about Ben Simmons.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And why Ben is not going to get you there.
But the statement you
All right,
just
I
made
got 2
was
minutes.
false.
Wrap it up, bros.
You just said what big man now can you give the ball and say get me the a point at the end of the game? Anthony Davis is one that you can do.
Not Joel.
Joel too. He should be able to. You fucking right.
So how we been doing with that? How have this team been doing with the same strategy?
You put.
Let me know. No,
you
let's
ans-
no,
you
let's
just
answer
asked
my
me a
question. Answer my
You
question.
asked me a question. I
now
answered it.
now I'm answering.
Y'all got
Ask me
one
another
more
question.
minute. Come on.
How has this team been going with that philosophy?
Not too good.
So if I must be on a roof somewhere because what I'm saying makes a lot of sense.
Not necessarily
It's,
because you said you
I said
can't.
originally
it's, not a
it's
big
Brent
man league.
Brown
You
and
can't give a
Ben
big
Simmons.
man
It's
the
not
ball,
enough
and
spacing
you
on the
can.
court offensively. And when we need to go get a bucket, it shouldn't be down in the post.
It should. You
It
give
should
to
be
your
at a
best
wing
player.
player that's a triple threat player that can
that's
get
your
you to the
big man.
line
That's your best
or can
player.
drive and dribble, drive and shoot. And if I got to go to my big man as an option, I can. The ball don't go up to Anthony Davis at the top of the key to create his own shot. It goes to LeBron James. He figures it out. Okay, I see Anthony. Now I'm going to go. Now I'm going to decide that I'm going to take this ball and go to AD in the paint to give me my bucket.
Which is giving it to a big man in the post, right?
Which is okay.
Thank you.
Which is okay. But the ball.
I think we out of time,
I think we're out of time.
But the ball goes. So if the ball goes to Ben Simmons, how do you defend Ben Simmons?
We're not talking about Ben Simmons
That's
right now.
that's
You
the
just
team.
said the big
This is
man.
why
You
it
just said
doesn't
the big
work.
man.
All right, one last thing,
Go
and this
ahead.
is why it doesn't work. When the game comes down to the line, who do we get the ball to? We actually
We out of time.
no. But listen, but this is what I'm saying.
Two bounces away from the Eastern Conference last year.
We had to throw an inbound play into the post to our best player. That's what we had to do.
Right.
And he fumbles the ball. We don't get that bucket that we needed.
Okay.
Instead of passing the ball to a player that can get a bucket,
It was 3 seconds.
which
left.
means that now defenses don't respect somebody like a Ben Simmons if he gets the
Are
ball
you
to the
talking
top.
about last year?
I'm talking about this year.
A
Oh, okay,
couple
okay.
games ago.
Talking about a couple
I know
games
you're
ago.
talking about.
Oh, okay.
Which I'm
It was
saying
on
is that
Christmas, I think, wasn't it?
we won.
No,
we
we
blew
won
out Christmas.
Christmas,
It was
yeah.
around
Rolled
that
the
time.
Bucks.
Yeah.
Which was okay. They went right into the paint, which I liked. Unfortunately, he fumbled the ball and couldn't get the ball up.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, when to get that play, you have to get a person to get that ball there.
You just said you liked it.
He's not.
Let's
he's not
go.
understanding.
Let's
So-
go. Let's go. We'll bring it back when we got some time. DJ, fourth quarter bet, man, bring us home.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Yeah, I thought we did
Here
the fourth
comes the
quarter.
money.
No. We're gonna put it together right now. We're gonna do it for the podcast before us. They asked for a play from us, so we told them to listen to the pod.
True.
And then we're gonna make them listen to the whole goddamn pod and 20 minutes of basketball talk between these two. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick our best play of the week, and we're all gonna take a game. DJ, you in it too. We all pick one game, one football game, and we're just gonna run it. All right. So I got the Birds.
I'm going Texans.
It's a money line play, a money line 14 parlay. Actually, you know what? Because I just heard this sigh in my goddamn ear. I'll go to Patriots money line. DJ, why everybody else thinking what you got?
I
For
already
me?
told you mine.
Oh, my fault.
I'm going to Texans money line.
Texans money line.
I mean, New Orleans seems obvious.
New Orleans money line.
So you already know where you're going.
Where
B.Diddy.
you going?
You like Seattle.
You going
That's where
Seattle
going.
money line?
Unless
Well,
you
I
like
thought you
college.
say.
I took it away.
He
Oh, you took it away.
He took
I took it
New
away.
England.
I didn't
took
want to
New
touch that game as a parlay. To tell you the truth, I would have just go Tennessee with the points.
I mean, don't forget we got the over and under too. You can play over and under.
I like Tennessee with the points. I think that's a big thing. I'll go plus 5.
All right, so all right,
you got
no.
New England on money line.
All right,
Tennessee
go
plus 10.
ahead,
That's
go ahead.
minus 110.
Okay, so we do I'll switch it back then because I'm going Birds money line. So we got Texans money line, New Orleans money line, Eagles money line, Texans plus the 5.
Titans.
Plus
I'm
5.
sorry, Titans plus the 5.
Mhm.
All right, let me pull that out real quick before we get out of here. Where is it at? What y'all think about that play? I like that play.
Mhm.
Man, we got to give some energy. Or
It's-
is that
it's
was
a
that
little-
conversation
it's
that
just a little
fucked y'all
tricky.
up?
110.
110.
On a 14 parlay? No, that can't be right.
Oh, wait, hold on. My bad.
That's a little tricky. It's a tricky.
I got plus
740.
Yeah, plus 740.
7-1.
7-1. 7.5 to 1
Mm.
on that. New Orleans
Oh God, I was gonna go Lakers first half.
New Orleans minus 400. Eagles are plus 103 right now. Tennessee is plus 5.5, and the Texans are minus 150. So that's what we're going with. 14 money line, fourth quarter bet, man. DJ, B.Diddy, S.Dot, Moss Money, man. We out
Happy
of
New
here.
Year, man. Happy New Year.